We're on the road to take over Brooklyn 3, and we've got a returning Johnny Gargano. We got a preview of next week's show. We got so many people coming in. They're fresh, they're new, they're returning, all of that, and we got a special guest today, so stay with us.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the NXT After Show right here on AFTERBUZZ TV. You gotta be prepared, just in general, in life. Here's some metal. I'm one of your hosts here, and it's Mark Donica. You can find me on Twitter at Mark Donica. I am, unfortunately, sitting next to the smelly one among us, the one in True Hobo, and I've got some sort of film on my...
My scent is hard work distilled. It is broken down into something that can be sold for profit
Some sort of
at
cheese.
nxteam.spreadshirt.com.
All right, you
At
brought it around.
True Hobo, and True Hobo.
Brought it around. Bill Hanstock.
This song rules. What is this? I don't
This
even
is
know.
a metal cover of Be Prepared. This guy, Jonathan Young, he does covers of like Disney songs, TV show openings. It's really, he's got a lot of cool stuff.
Radical.
Yeah.
You find me on social media, so now I'm gonna tell. But this guy.
Our special guest, he is the current United Wrestling Network television champion, a countless other championships in other promotions, a performer in NJPW, that's New Japan, for those of you who don't know. The star of a most entrancing fanfic, the man who will make you cry, it's Rocky Romero.
Yay.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me.
It's
on
a pleasure
this.
to have you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been fun. Yeah, we
Yeah.
just watched some really good wrestling.
It's like sometimes NXT can be a little bit more like let's just progress storylines for a second, but tonight there's some pretty damn good wrestling.
Yeah, it was a kind of, I'd say, an episode with two hands, because you did progress some storylines, you saw some familiar faces, and then we had a couple of debuts and some really killer wrestling that you could really sink your teeth into, so hey,
It was
I'll
an
take
episode with 2 hands and 2 arms.
it. Yeah, two arms.
It had 2 hands and a fighting chance.
Yeah.
Right.
The first match of the night was Johnny Gargano versus Raul Mendoza, who we haven't seen since the CWC. What do y'all think of this match? This was pretty damn awesome.
Mendoza really stood out in this match.
Yeah, he looks like he's been working on his craft a bit. You know, he looked like he cleaned up some of his movements and stuff like that, and got rid of some of the bad habits that I think that he had during the CWC. He looked really good.
I like his his luchador style when it comes into the movement aspect of it. He's able to kind of move in and move out, and with Gargano's also sort of a guy who is really fluid in there. So if you're going to be fluid at any given time, it better be against Gargano. And I think Mendoza reminded me why I liked him so much. He's hard hitting but quick. And he's small, which means if you're small, you usually got to be fast and know what you're doing in there, or else you're just going to flounder. But I think this was a great matchup.
I'm surprised that it went as short as it did, or it felt like the ending seemed to have come without any sort of a warning. It was just, all of a sudden, submission, and it's over, as opposed, like, it felt like they were
eventually
building...
there was a submission.
Sure, yes, but I mean, in terms of, it felt like it was, the pace was, it was not necessarily all over the place, but it was just a quick ramp up, like maybe 0 to 30 and then 30 to 60. But yeah, it was an interesting pace, but one that worked for these guys.
I think it worked.
Yeah.
You know, I think it worked. Like, I felt there was just enough time for those two to kind of show, to feel each other out. And that's basically what it was, because we haven't seen Raul in some time now. So I thought it was just the perfect amount of time. And then Gargano, you know, is back on it, you know. So I'd like to see what happens with Gargano.
Shout out to the other guest in our studio tonight,
Yeah.
Fly. So
Yeah.
if you see us,
Yeah.
if you see us not knowing what to do with our arms,
My fault. My fault.
but I really like Mendoza's. I really like Mendoza's look, because he's got like a really unique look especially for WWE, because he looks like he's 5 feet tall and weighs 600 pounds, but not in a bad way.
Right.
Like, it looks like he's swallowed a couple of
stocky,
bowling
Yeah,
balls or
he's
something.
the Otis Dozovic of luchadors.
Right.
And then he moves with
Yeah,
the
he doesn't-
quickness
Yeah.
of a
He doesn't look
cat.
fat in any way.
No.
He's just like,
Condensed.
yeah, he's like a rectangle.
He's got a luchador body. He's
Yeah.
a classic luchador body.
Classic.
class.
I should say
El
classico.
Clásico.
Classico.
Raul Mendoza, clásico.
2-0.
But yeah, I think this match did great for both guys. We're excited where Johnny Gargano's going to go, and whatever's next for Raul Mendoza, I think we'll be in the first row. Excited to see it. It's a
Breaking news?
It's a turn of phrase.
Is that a turn of phrase?
It is now.
It will be in the front row of life.
Yeah.
And Gargano's best spear in a long time.
Yes.
Yeah, look good.
And Gargano's still doing the DIY fake out entrance.
Well, he had a mic. Like, it was like, wait a minute, this is a mic. And then they played the real one, and he dropped it. Like, before he even had a chance to say anything, which was a little weird.
Okay.
He should have been like, cut my music. I want all you fat, lazy, disgusting slobs to see
I feel
what
like
real
I've
names.
seen that somewhere.
He was looking pretty good tonight.
It's
He
true.
was looking pretty
He looking
amped up.
real
he
jacked,
did.
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, that spear is usually as telegraphed as a Randy Orton hanging DDT off the
Dang.
ropes, but
Dang, dude.
what? Yeah, that's not telegraphed every second. It's vintage Orton. Like,
Dang, dude.
what is he gonna come in and do it to me?
Yes.
He might.
All right, I'm gonna die.
He is not afraid
His
to mix it up.
his trademark is literally coming out of nowhere. Why would you tempt fate like that?
I messed up, guys. I'm so
Maniac.
sorry.
He could be right
yeah.
up there right now. There's a...
No.
From now on, our runner has to be like every now and then we'll play like the I have always seen you.
He's here.
He's here. Keep your head on a swivel. It's Randy Orton.
Now, maybe we could talk about that later in the show. So then we got a look back at the tussle between Sanity and Authors of Pain, and it was confirmed that we're going to be getting a tag team title match between Sanity and the Authors of Pain at Brooklyn 3, and we got a little bit from Paul Ellering. They showed their sanity when they attacked the Authors of Pain, take over Brooklyn. We will write the chapter, but between now and then, be prepared. Monsters are real. I love that monsters are real thing, because those guys are crazy.
Yeah. Paul Ellering, that was a creepy promo. Somebody needs to turn on the lights.
Yeah, you can barely see it. It's like, wait, are they there? Is that
Just
them?
a shine off his bald head was all I really caught on the monitor.
Does Paul spend time at the Performance Center, or does he just like come in for taping?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, there
couldn't tell you.
An elusive figure.
not the last tour, but the tour before, Paul was on tour with the authors. So,
That's true.
like, even for live shows,
Imparting his wisdom,
Yeah.
doing puppet shows.
might as well. You gotta stay active somehow. Why not? I know everybody's tired, but check this out. I don't know. I don't know why I went for marionette instead of.
Lonely goat herd over here.
Are we stoked for this tag title match?
Yeah, of course.
Cool. End of subject.
We've
I don't know.
talked.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about how instantly better that tag team got when it, one, became that tag team, and two, the second Alexander Wolf started talking on TV.
Yeah.
Like, just this dynamic.
But what are their actual chances of beating the Authors of Pain? I really don't see Sanity
You don't?
taking the titles off of the Authors of Pain.
I
kind of
think
don't.
I feel like it. So Heavy Machinery was a match for Authors of Pain just in sheer size and strength. But Sanity not only has at least half of the size and at least half of the strength, but they also have sheer unpredictability that maybe a lot of other tag teams that the Authors have faced don't.
The Authors of Face. It's fine. I got you. No, it's usually me, so I feel good about it. I agree in the sense that Alexander Wolf presents a complete unpredictability where he can be anywhere. If he's not in the ring, he and Orton are hanging out in the ceiling. But you know, he could hide under the ring and pull one of the authors down, or Nikki Cross could get involved somehow, or Eric Young could get involved somehow. We don't know what's going to happen, but as long as they have some sort of strength, which they do have in Killian Dane, it could be anything.
That's true. The Authors also haven't ever had to play the damned numbers game.
That's true.
Damn numbers.
But I'd say the unpredictability factor plays more in a case of a champion's advantage. If they were actually holding the title, it'd be easier for them to hold the title because of the unpredictability factor. I don't think necessarily that plays into it, because if there's a disqualification, the Authors still hold on to the title. That's where I'm kind of like, if they pull any shenanigans, a disqualification means the Authors still hang on to it.
But that means they can have somebody distract the referee while the other one does the dirty work.
Maybe.
They've got enough people for that.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good. After this, we get Asuka talking about how it would take over Brooklyn. She's gonna beat Ember Moon. She's been here before. She's gonna do it again. But Ember Moon comes out, and we got a little bit of a tussle. We got a big ol' slap from Asuka when after offering. You right?
Shook her, man.
Yeah.
Shook Ember Moon way down to her boots.
Y'all got shook too.
Woke her up, man.
But Ember popped
been
her
there.
right back. This big old tussle. Asuka dumps Ember outside. Ember hits the Eclipse and roughly messes up Asuka quite a bit. Motions that she's gonna pick up the title and pose with it, but she says, "No, I'm gonna pick that up when I earn it." Now, what do we think about this match for Brooklyn?
I feel like Ember. This is the one that might dethrone Asuka. I have a feeling that I don't know. There's just something about her presence, and obviously, I think that it's gonna be a hell of a match. It's probably going to be Asuka's best match. I'm really putting a lot of stock into this one, and but I do think that maybe it's Asuka's time
To lose.
to lose.
Yeah.
Maybe move somewhere else.
We saw on
Maybe.
the
Maybe. If she loses, then I mean definitely, right?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, but also one of the biggest and best and longest title reigns in WWE history.
Yeah.
I mean, where else do you go?
Right.
So just call it.
Right.
That's it. I'm done.
Right.
I'm going.
Well, how are we all currently feeling about the possibility of her retaining, going up, vacating the title, and then the finals of the Mae Young Classic being for that vacant title?
I've been about that ever since she's been holding.
Like, do we
itself.
think it's like 50-50 that might happen, or that Ember might win?
That's
or-
really interesting.
I'd give it a 50-50. It's hard to say. Like I'm behind Ember Moon. She said today on
NXT Insider.
NXT Insider that she has been doubling her training, but I don't think that's necessarily the answer to beating Asuka, because she faced Asuka before and lost dirty. And that was what Asuka did in order to hold on to that belt. She fought dirty for like maybe the first and only time in the entirety of her championship reign. So that's actually what you need to work on. You've got to watch out for what Asuka hasn't done. Not just what she has done, but the unknown factor. So I don't know how one prepares for the unknown. And I think that's going to be the question that Ember has to ask herself. How do I prepare in case Asuka decides to go completely off script and cheat completely? She looked a lot like Ric Flair tonight, Asuka did. So is she going to pull out a Ric Flair playbook and start playing super dirty? That's the question.
Give an armbar to her coat.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see that.
Great. Ends up in her tights, just fighting every single bit.
How you prepare for the unpredictable is actually you pay a friend to, at really like random times, just like show up and throw like sand in your eyes or like fish
Pocket sand.
I've done that. I've done that for money. Yeah. Did that game. Done a lot of things for money. Some I'm not proud of.
I hear that way too
We'll
often
get
from
to
you.
we'll get to doing anything later in the episode.
I feel like I wonder if like Asuka's kind of bored as champion. You know what I'm saying? In a way,
Completely.
like
Yeah.
I mean, she's ran through everybody, right? Basically, and then at this point, it's like, what else can I do? Like, but obviously she doesn't want to lose the championship, I guess, but I mean.
She's going for Bruno.
Yeah.
She's going for Bruno's record.
She's been so dominant that like it's actually a possibility that she might show up, like do her entrance, and then like make a winking hand gesture and just throw the belt at Ember Moon and be like, I don't get it.
Right.
But then she would lose by disqualification because she hit her in the face with a belt.
Yeah.
I'm excited either way for what is in Asuka's future, but I don't know what it could be.
Right.
Where could she end up? What TV show needs her more?
Right.
Ooh, that's a good question.
With Bailey just getting hurt.
Probably Raw, man.
Yeah.
Bailey.
Because Raw has more women than SmackDown, but they
do
use
they?
fewer women than
Do they?
SmackDown.
And you would think with
SmackDown, like the Native American, uses 100% of their women's division.
Right. Even the eyeballs and the feet. Yeah.
Feet would be Lana, eyeballs would be Tamina.
Okay. Sure.
all right, dig it. All right, let's transition. To this. Let's transition to this.
Hello.
segment.
I'm just
Ellie
getting word
Pittman.
we've been canceled again.
Yeah. Thank you, Rocky, for joining us on our last episode. So we got Bobby Roode in the back in sort of a makeshift interview where they're still trying to like set the camera and everything. It seemed to me like he's got a little bit. He doesn't have too much time. He's a champion. You know what? I got places to be, hands to kiss, babies to shake, and
Time is Bobby.
time is Bobby. So he talks about how he makes a lottery reference to Roderick Strong because people in trailer parks like playing the lottery.
He ain't wrong.
No, he's certainly not.
But they tend to play scratchers and not the
I'm
ones with
offended
the numbers.
because I play the lottery.
See, it's for everybody.
But do you do the quick pick or do you like actually have your numbers that you play?
To be honest, I do one quick pick and then I have my numbers.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
My
That's
dad,
right, let's
my
legit-
dad, twice a week for like 10 years had give a 20,
Right.
10 quick picks and 10.
Oh, he had
Yeah,
a set
and
number.
He
yeah.
had 10 sets of numbers.
He had the little like plastic California Lotto sleeve that you keep your card in. So you can-
wow.
He was a serious player.
yeah, he was. That's what happens when you're unemployed for 20 years.
I guess so.
Well, all right. So they move on from Roderick Strong, and they talk. And next week, he invites Drew McIntyre to get in the ring and have a little conversation. Not a contract signing, just you want to get coffee and talk.
A combo.
Yeah, just as quick.
Open a dialogue.
Shoot the biz.
Powwow.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey,
Gonna
so
sell him a toaster. Like, what are you
what have you been up to? You want to, just catch up?
Yeah.
We haven't seen each other
Catch
in a
up.
minute.
Hey, you still got that worthless family?
But still, but Bobby's like, all right, I'm done. Starts to leave. Roderick Strong,
Hey, man.
hey, hold me back. Let me go. I wanna beat him up, man. He's like, you get it back. Like, Bobby was real convincing. Just like, you get him out of here. Get him out of here. He's a maniac. But
I think the verbatim quote was, "It's BS. I did not hit her. I did not."
oh hi, Bobby.
Oh, hi, Regal.
Oh hi, Bill. Bill. Oh, that would be even better if he called him Bill Regal.
I thought for a second, before Rod left, I thought that William Regal called him Rodney. He's like, "There's nothing I can do, Rodney."
All right, now listen. Roderick Strong, his heart's in the right place. He's showing all of the right passion, but sometimes you just don't know what to say or how to say it.
To quote William H. Macy in Magnolia, he does have a lot of love to give. He just doesn't know where to put it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, okay.
But ultimately, he ends up getting held back. He's like, what am I supposed to do? I'm a man. How am I supposed to react?
That's just as funny the second time.
He's like,
He's got this terrible Sid Vicious disorder where nothing ever sounds right when he says it. Like the wrong emphasis is permanently on the wrong syllable.
correct
Dumb as you think
emphasis.
I am.
But he's like, I'll do anything you want. Just give me Bobby Roode. Hey, I don't think you want to play that card. That's a dangerous card to play. All right, you get to work the Authors of Pain. After they get done with catering, you got to clean up. But his hands are tied. I can't do anything, man. It's Bobby Roode, Drew McIntyre at Brooklyn. So what's
I would hate to clean up after the Authors of Pain and catering.
yeah?
Imagine the mess.
That was the
No hands. Yeah. Why would they use their hands? Why?
Thank you for going back to my
How many
really
weeks
bad
till
joke.
takeover?
Three.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the next one-
So
weekend.
yeah, I mean, I feel like something's gonna happen here. Something's gonna break, right?
So, some sort of number one contendership match or something, maybe, or is
Maybe.
Roderick?
Do you think
we
he's gonna?
already have it.
I wonder if is possible that he might interject himself and they'll turn into a three-way of some sort. I mean, I don't know. It seems like something's a brewing.
Unless they lock him in a closet, yeah, he's probably going to show up in the middle of
Oh,
the ring.
definitely, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
What would be the best way to like? Should he earn it? I mean, like, it just though enough people.
That's what good guys do.
Right.
All right, the end.
All
No,
right.
I'm sorry.
Moving on.
I mean, they had a hell of a match, right?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet, but I heard it was a hell of a match.
It was a real good match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Roddy's family was ringside.
right, and that's Roddy's strong suit, man. He's a freaking machine, you know. Like he really is. He's not the guy that maybe is you want to be, you know, go out there and talk about like, hey man, you know, whatever, my family this, my family that. But even though I know that, like you guys said, it comes from like a real place, you know, and the guy does have a lot of love, but he's one of the most hardworking wrestlers in the game, and you know, and I think that they should let him do more of that.
We agree. You know? We're proponent of Roderick Strong's performances.
Right.
But he needs somebody to talk for him.
Yeah. He's one of the best technical wrestlers I've ever seen, but for God's sake, take away the microphone.
No, or you know what? Or I think that like when they did that documentary series on him, they just need to let him like really just be himself, you know, and like and not try to you know. But he should have just came in there and beat up Rude.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
You know,
he didn't have to say anything.
Have him look like a badass. Like you don't have to have.
Let him do what he does is best. You know,
like there's that real disconnect between like. When you see him in the documentary setting and you see him as a real person, like, oh, that's a real person. Then you see him in the ring, you're like, oh, he's a badass too. Right. But there's that in between area where they're trying to make him do a thing that he's not great at,
right?
And they're having that aspect to try and carry the whole story.
You know what though? Honestly, like maybe in a year, watch. I bet you he becomes pretty good at this.
I hope
this
so.
kind
I
of stuff
believe it.
because the guy works so hard, and especially when people are. Say, hey, no, you know, you're not really good at that like that, then like he flips on a switch and he'll work really hard at it, and all of a sudden he'll be like the best at it, and you'll be like, whoa, I don't know.
Super into it.
And theoretically, that's what NXT's for, is to give you all the missing pieces.
Right.
Like,
to give you opportunities like that, right? So, interesting.
No, we want more. No, definitely.
Yeah. No, it's
like we could be tough on some people on this show, but ultimately,
it's out of love.
We want everybody to succeed. Why would we want anybody to fail?
Hey, I think that, you know, as a professional wrestler, I think that I like to hear, you know, criticism, you know, people not liking what I'm doing, you know, because it does make me work harder. It does fuel the fire, you know. I'm just like, I'm a competitive person.
But you like to hear it in a context of like being constructive and talking about it, and not like somebody on Twitter being like,
right.
Hey, you suck. Your forearms are shitty.
Right. I mean, yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Your forearms are not.
Right,
I'm
no,
just.
my forearms are great.
Yeah, they're great.
Definitely. But you know, that's okay. You can. I mean, yeah, you could say that. You're just gonna get blocked. You know.
That being said, everyone go on Twitter and talk about Trent's big nipples.
Yes.
Yeah.
At Trenty Locks.
Yeah.
And tag me in it at Azuka Rock.
He's very hard on eggs.
Yeah. Yeah. That guy loves hard on eggs. Yeah.
Took a flippin' turn. So after this, we got a confirmation that we're going to be getting the Street Profits next week.
Hooray.
Finally!
Yeah.
These
What a
vignettes are
week.
so fun.
Yeah.
Well, did anybody see their reactions to what happened on Thursday night? Or on, excuse me, Thursday night. What year is it? On SmackDown Tuesday? In the segment where Shane was backstage and talking to Kevin Owens, there were some red cups that were just on the ground, taken down, and it was like, look at what they're doing to us, man. It's like, rip. It was so good. Red Cup Revolution, all that stuff. Man, I'm so stoked for these two. We've been hearing about them for I can't tell you how long, and to finally get them on TV, looking forward to it. But speaking of next week, well, something to talk about at the end of the show. After this, we get a quick match between Sonya Deville.
Sonya Deville.
Sorry, you hit me with the Johnny, and it's stuck in my head. Versus Jenna Van Bemmel. This was a amazing showing for Sonya.
Yeah.
Not so much for her competitor this evening, who really we don't know anything about. She didn't do anything, and she just the audience and us in studio all thought she looked like Charlotte, and we didn't get to see anything that.
It's like somebody ordered a Charlotte, but they were accidentally given a large instead of a regular.
Yeah, we got a large. I want a large Charlotte.
That's whatever. That's
Get a liter of cola.
Well,
Can I get a liter of Charlotte?
this woman, Jenna Van Bemmel, is that?
Jenna Van Bemmel.
She had the same sort of thing going for her that like Raul Mendoza.
See, it's got everybody.
Mendoza.
He hits him with the Mendoza.
Same sort of thing where it's like you look at. I'm a huge fan of any, and we've had this conversation before the show. I am a huge fan of any wrestler that doesn't look like another wrestler. Mm-hmm. So like as soon as I saw her, like we were all kind of like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like It's like I want to. It's the total like Simpsons like, but the little guy hasn't done anything yet. Like you just want to know what their deal is, and you just want to stare at them. You know, like not in a like grotesque way.
No, but like we didn't get. She was already in ring.
Yeah.
We didn't get to see an entrance. It was all Sonya. She was 100% Sonya.
Dude, she was 200% Sonya. She was showing, she was showing so much personality and so much confidence.
Jenna hit an avalanche in the corner.
True.
Yeah.
That was about it.
That was it.
Yeah.
But we got a rolling triangle for the win. How did this make Sonya look? Like how? Like does this raise her? How much does this raise her stock?
She looked great, but the finish was a little funky.
Yeah.
And
couldn't find the arm, seemingly.
She had it. I know she had it.
Yeah, honestly, it almost looked like she thought she was going to go for the armbar, so she switched her leg over and then realized, oh no, I want to go for the triangle, and switched it back.
Yeah, maybe she was going to go for the armbar. I don't know.
Yeah. So,
but
that-
yeah,
maybe she
other than
realized
that,
that's Asuka's move.
Got to get that extra pep.
that was the only blemish on the match, though.
Right.
And I just want to see more of Jenna too.
Yeah.
Like I love Sonya. I want to see way more of her, but I also want to see like what the deal was with her competitor.
Yeah.
Sonya made her kind of look like a goof out there. And Jenna was never able to get one up on Sonya.
Right,
You know, you
right.
always try and get one up on your opponent. If they make you look dumb, you got to be just a little smarter. At least show them you're on the same level. She never got it back.
Well, she did.
Well, I think that's just it. She's just not on the same level.
I guess
that's
that's
true.
it.
So,
Although I did like that when she was outside, when she was on the apron, she did.
Yeah, she
Stun
caught her,
gunner.
snapped her head
Yeah.
on the top rope there. Yeah. But that was about it.
Yeah.
Solid. Looking forward to for more from both of these women.
Sonya looked great. She looked like she had a 10.5 of personality and somebody really to hate. So enjoy that.
Enjoy the hate.
What like Sonya does a lot of little things well, which is of course is hugely important in professional wrestling. And her pre-match like shadow boxing looks so boss, and it's real easy to make that look dumb or to not do it well.
right.
Well,
But
if you give that to somebody who hasn't boxed, it might look a little bit weird.
Right.
Even people who have boxed, like, I mean,
What, like Bart Gunn?
like someone who doesn't know what to do with their arms. But like,
Not there yet.
like for example, we were talking like in the main event. We'll talk about this more. But you know, you were talking about like how when when two guys are really tagging each other there in the ring, it doesn't always necessarily look good because when you like often a potato looks horrible.
Right.
It like Shane McMahon's punches look terrible, but if you talk to anybody who's ever been in a match with Shane McMahon, they know that they get like black eyes and welts and stuff.
It hurts
from
like
him.
hell.
Yeah.
That guy survives like helicopter crashes. He's a badass.
Yeah.
Like,
That's the
it's
least
insane.
extreme thing he's ever done.
Well, yeah.
Right.
I know.
No, you ask Vince
So
McMahon, he's
insane.
the son of God. So, there's that. Hideo Itami in the back, talking about how nobody, including Cassius, seems to be giving him any respect. So why should he give respect to anybody?
Yeah.
But okay, we got to go back to the ring. No. Goes out to the ring himself, starts giving a little bit of a Japanese promo, talking about how he deserves respect, wants the audience to show him respect. Don't disrespect me. I don't care who's next. Aleister Black's music hit, and everybody just, what's going to happen? Aleister takes his time, comes out, does his full entrance. This man is in my ring. Hideo goes to leave. But as he comes back, we don't know what he's going to do. You brought it up.
Right. No, I saw
He
it
just turns
coming.
around.
Hideo may have been turning to apologize, and all of a sudden, Black Mass lights out. That's it. Hideo Itami is scraped off the mat with a large spatula.
So we were wondering who Aleister Black was going to be taking on at TakeOver. Does this seem... Does this match interest anybody?
This should be pretty fun.
I'll tell you what, it interests me a lot more than Tommy versus Ono.
Yeah, I give you that. At least right now.
Just because, like, Aleister Black, man,
Aleister Black is
man
still-
alive.
At least on a serious roll.
Yeah.
Serious roll. Itami hasn't been winning too much.
But
recently.
if there's somebody that he can get that redemption against, it's Aleister Black.
He would seek it. I don't think he would get it.
Also, like, how boss would that fight be? Like, those dudes kick so hard.
Kicking the crap out of each other.
Yeah. Man, but like Itami though, I worry about him because he takes one of those kicks and his jaw might break at this point. You know, I mean, you know what I'm
poor
saying?
Itami.
So I mean, he's just had such a string of bad luck and injuries over the last few years. Like, going up against a guy like Aleister Black, that could be a short match, and it could make and something embarrassing could happen. You know, that's the truth. You know, and that's something that he's got to overcome and think about walking into it. You know,
but I mean, the other guy he's feuding with right now is also a guy who's a striker and does a million strikes per match, and
Right.
you know, so.
I think Itami's got to be careful because I feel like he's just right now going to become, setting himself up to be the middleman between Ono and Aleister Black. You know? And and he's becoming the stepping stone for one of them or both of
So
them.
you think like Ono's going to come out next week and be like, I wanted to kick him.
Hey, man, you got it my way. And we get a triple threat before we catch Ono.
We've talked about it a lot, but like Tommy is like the very definition of snake bit, and it's such a bummer.
Yeah.
Because like anytime he's gotten like the slightest bit of momentum, just something horrible.
Right.
Like Oni Lorcan bust his whole nose up a couple weeks ago. Like,
I mean, it was impressive because he came right back out.
He didn't want to stop. They stopped that match for him. He didn't want to. I mean, the man's a warrior.
Yeah, he is.
You love watching him because he eats punishment and he dishes it out. But he's got such a bad rep right now.
But he has it. But he like what he's missing though. I mean, I'm sure you guys have already talked about this before. Is he's missing that fire that got him to the stage. You know, to this final stage, and of NXT. And he had it in his ROH run. He had it in Pro Wrestling Noah and everywhere else as he's been. But he hasn't had that like real fire. And I don't know if it's because of the injuries or what it is. But.
He had fire fire times a million when he came back and was going to start his feud with Austin Aries, and everyone was just so amped for it.
Right.
And then he got dropped on his head.
Yeah.
Moss.
Such a bummer.
Accidents happen.
Yeah.
Buh.
I mean, just last night, John Cena got dropped on his head.
Yep, that was.
It could happen to anybody.
That's
No,
wrestling, baby.
Yeah.
Speaking of it being wrestling, Aleister Black versus Kyle O'Reilly was our main event of the night. Holy crap, was this a fun match? This was awesome.
Yeah.
Arms and all.
Yeah, very arms akimbo,
Arms akimbo.
swinging everywhere.
Kyle Arms Akimbo O'Reilly. They started with strike for strike, then they went hold for hold, and O'Reilly seemed to be a lot more advantageous in going for as many holds as possible, but Black seemed to be one step ahead in keeping them off of their like full intensity.
It's an intelligence game when you're going to the ground. Striking is sometimes lightning will strike, but on the ground it's chess. You really got to play the game. And I think the best thing for Kyle O'Reilly is the fact that the last man Aleister Black faced was Bobby Fish. And they're a pretty legendary tag team at this point. So I think Kyle was able to watch that match and go, all right, so how does Aleister actually do things? This is up against a guy that Kyle knows really well, so he's able to watch the tape, dissect it, and probably give Aleister Black the greatest match he's had thus far in NXT. I mean, he almost put him away. It was pretty
Greatest
damn
challenge
close.
for sure, right?
Yeah.
Like when they were standing in the beginning, and we talked about it, but like you would think, okay, the announcers kept saying that, oh, Aleister Black is going to have the advantage on their feet, but to be honest, Kyle is shorter, and he was playing the inside, and he was tagging Aleister more than Aleister was tagging him, he played it perfect. You either play two ways. You play it on the outside when you're a little shorter than the other guy, and you don't have that reach. You play the outside and not get hit, or you play the inside, and while that guy's throwing bombs around you, you're just connecting on the inside, and you played that perfectly, and it was cool. Yeah.
Very cool.
This is so much fun.
Yeah, by far the most competitive match Aleister Black has had, and I think it really speaks to the really wonderful character that Aleister Black has cultivated, where it's just like he was getting frustrated in the match, but he was never getting so frustrated as to lose control.
Right.
And I think Kyle O'Reilly may have hit that point at a few moments where he didn't know what to do to put this guy away, and so he sort of lost it a little bit.
Well, that's how he lost the match. He really did.
It took a split second. He got fired up, and he took that minute to get fired up, and he got hit with Black Mass because Aleister Black doesn't need a minute to get fired up. Like he has that internal like burning calm, and that's his
He doesn't
whole...
have fire. He is ice. That man is ice through to the bone.
Yeah, but he doesn't need anything he doesn't need any external stimulus to motivate him.
Yeah.
He just is a machine. He's a drive. He's an engine.
He's just got it all on lock. whew boy. But coming back from the last commercial, we were a little surprised that this was a main event. Not sad about it,
Just
but-
because it started so early in the episode.
Yeah, it's
Right.
like a half hour
Three
left.
segments, right?
Yeah, it was. 3 segments.
But the last segment, like both of them getting back up to their feet and just striking each other with everything that they had back and forth.
That moonsault out of nowhere.
For distance.
Oh, man.
You
Yeah.
get that moonsault for distance.
And that is a huge ring. That ring
Yeah.
is massive, you know. So
Which
that was insane. Yeah.
That was like looking at it, you're going, he's not gonna make it. And it lands it, like, holy crap.
Like, you know, like on the video games, like when you go to hit a moonsault and your opponent's like way on the other side, but like you can because
does
it's
that
just
weird,
that was that moonsault. That was
That's great.
it was so good. Yeah.
Moonsault straight out of 2K, available October 20th. Yeah.
But I really love when NXT or WWE does like an indie match, basically, because they take all the best parts of a crazy indie match and they slow it down and they take out like maybe a third or half of the stuff that they would
Right.
do in like PWG or somewhere. Like New Japan is really good at this, at like distilling stuff down to like what is the story, what makes the most impact, while still being totally insane.
Right. They try to trim the fat a
Yeah.
bit. You know.
Well, like, look at the 60-minute match between Omega and Okada. I mean, if you have an hour, you should look at that match.
It's insane.
But they do everything, but it fits so perfectly into the 60 minutes.
Right, and it that match is so insane for me because I've seen a couple of 60-minute draws in my lifetime. I saw Joe versus Punk, all three of them, and a couple others, but they never like had a pace of like where one guy was holding an armbar. Or like, you know, like the Brett versus Shawn match, you know, and that became a thing. It was not that kind of paced match, but it was still paced where like there was so many ups and downs, especially in the last like 20 minutes. It's like one guy hits a move, then they're both down because they're exhausted. Then there was like a little combo flurry of a couple moves, and then, you know, nobody could stand after that. It was so amazingly done.
Like Omega avoiding the Rainmaker just because he collapses.
Yeah. Just so narrowly avoiding it.
Yeah.
But it's also like it's just such a testament to that match and to the Joe Punk Broadway where it's like it's so difficult to put together a match where you're going to do a 60-minute time limit draw and not telegraph that that's what you're doing like by the 20-minute mark.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Where it's like 20 minutes in, like the crowd can be like, all right. I see where this is going.
Yeah.
Well, that brings up a question, but I want to finish the show so that we can get to a little bit more about Mr. Rocky Romero. It ended with Kyle hitting a really gross. They called it an axe kick, but it was just a foot to the back of the head, and started going for the follow-up. Alistair hits the Black Mass for the win, and that's our show. Holy crap, what a match. I would like to see that again. But we're talking about building a match for New Japan, and we can we talk about your time at the PC?
Yeah,
Even though we just
sure.
kind of did? Okay.
Yeah.
So can you speak at all to how WWE or the Performance Center is teaching people how to structure matches versus how a New Japan would structure?
Well, I think that, you know, probably what I think is going on at the PC is they're kind of structuring matches like, and not just traditional, you know, WWE formula, you know, because I mean, you have to start somewhere, right?
Sure.
And everybody, you know, most of the guys there that are starting out, probably 75% of them, right? And there's like 25% that come from the indies and already have experience. But so yeah, I mean, but the only thing about that is like they're only kind of learning that one formula, you know, and then obviously it takes experience to learn other formulas and other ways to do things. Where in New Japan, of course, there's a New Japan formula. There's always a formula, right? But you know, you're working with a lot of different guys from all kinds of areas and who have a lot of ideas, you know. So like, and what's cool about New Japan too is like, when you first start out, they don't only like give you all the tools. Like in NXT, they want to get you prepared for every single situation, and that in New Japan, it's like we're giving you 5 moves. Go out there, kid, and figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you're learning on the job, and you're really having to apply, you know, just a couple of tools, and you have to build this house with, like, you know, a hammer and a few nails. And maybe somebody will loan you a saw, so like that's basically what it is. So I think that it's a bit more effective learning on the job than trying to just give everybody so much information that it just like it kind of makes them a little crazy, and then like they don't know what to focus on.
It's like cramming for a test. Like,
Exactly.
what information do I
Right.
pull?
But that's really interesting because the WWE formula is so much simpler than
Right.
the New Japan formula. But
Right.
like they inundate them with all this information to prepare them for any eventuality, even though it's not going to be any eventuality.
Right. But I think that's just the only small thing in the system that doesn't really work yet, or they just haven't quite figured out, exactly what they need to do. But really, though, the guys just have to work. I think it's better to give them less and just say, okay, look, do this, this, and this, and then go do it. Go make something out of nothing. Like it's more interesting to learn how to bake a cake with, from scratch than just to buy the box and you have everything ready to go.
So at what point does the New Japan Dojo tell the young boys, like, okay, now you can do this, now you can do that?
When you leave and you go on your excursion. So basically that's when you build your guy.
Got it,
You know what I'm
got
saying?
it.
So yeah, you get the few.
And Tozawa did a really good job of building his guy.
Right, Tozawa is a guy, that's the Japanese way, and obviously like a Dragon Gate, they're kind of like the in between, I think, between WWE and probably the New Japan system, because like they kind of prepare you a little bit more because you're learning their styles up. You're a little bit,
Well, yeah, that like Toryumon thing, you would think like, okay, they're gonna get some more moves.
Right.
Then.
But look how good that first group was, and how like they influenced professional wrestling. And basically, they were only like 2 or 3 years in, or 4 years in, and they just influenced a whole generation. They influenced me when I saw SEMA for the first time. I was like, who the hell is this guy? Like, what are they doing? What are these moves that they've created? And that was just really, really interesting. But I think that's like Tozawa did a great job with that, and to see what he's doing now is just insane. I think he's the best guy in 205, by far.
Yeah. Although I've really been impressed with Arya Daivari so far. Even since he's just been on from the Cruiserweight Classic to now, his look and his style has evolved so much. That's one of the testaments. It's almost like he did his own excursion.
Yeah. It's an interesting concept.
And this isn't a 205 after show, but I'm a big fan of Mustafa Ali.
Yeah, well, obviously. Yeah.
How can you not be?
Yeah.
And let me guess, Drew Gulak.
Well, between
Because it's Drew.
Gulak and Kendrick.
Yeah.
Like between those two, you've got probably a couple of the most brilliant wrestling minds that have ever been created. And Brian Kendrick can use any part of a wrestling ring to disable an opponent. And that's what makes him so dangerous.
Yeah.
It's not in the ring; it's the entire arena.
Yeah, I love the Cruiserweight Kendrick. He's turned it up in such a way that, and then you kind of forgot, like, oh, yeah, Brian's that good.
I forgot. So the internet and the wrestling community as a whole has been dealing with a terrible loss. And I can't believe you wore the hat, because you're just going to make everybody cry. I'm sure you've talked about it a lot, but Roppongi Vice, kind of no longer a thing.
Yeah.
So what is your next step? What do you want to accomplish now that you are not in this tag team?
Get Trent fired from New Japan.
Yep.
That's Trent T-Lock?
No, I think, definitely I'd like to do whatever I can to help Trent into his heavyweight excursion, and obviously, it's going to be a big change. The style is going to change for him in a huge way, and he's going to find himself in probably some big opportunities down the road. So I'd like to help them. That's like a personal thing, but I don't think that on screen I'll really be involved with them too much. Besides, we're a part of the same faction, so we might be teaming as a group every once in a while. Me personally, my personal goals.
get that junior heavyweight title again?
I would like that. I would like that.
I wouldn't mind seeing a series between you and Kushida.
Me and Kushida have great chemistry. Like, we tear the house down. We did a Best of Super Junior match last year, and I beat him, by the way, and I didn't get a title shot. But we tore the house down in like a it wasn't a Tokyo or like in Osaka. It was like Nagoya or something. It's a really great crowd. And we just like literally tore the house down, and we had like all the fans on their feet and going nuts, and it was a good moment for me because I was like, see, I can still do these singles runs, so yeah, I think that I talked about it before. Like, I feel like I don't want to like just jump into it. I kind of want to prepare myself. Like, I need to make some changes and kind of get into a groove of being a singles wrestler again because I haven't done it in so long, and like really focused on an actual like singles run. So like, I want to change my look. I want to adjust my style a bit, kind of like how Kendrick did, in the cruiserweight division. Like he made some changes, and I think that that's a necessary thing to do. But since I'm going to be on the road as well, it's not going to all be like quick. Like, I don't want to just be like, okay, I'm a singles wrestler now, guys. And then have a really shitty run, Like, I'd like to build up to it a bit. And I think that New Japan is like the place where like, you could be like a Homa did, where like you have a slow burn into a singles run, or like an Ishii or something like that. Like, I would like to be one of those guys,
How about some more training? You had a seminar last night at Santino Brothers. How many people did you draw? It looked like the entire house was full, overpacked.
Yeah, if you know Santino's, it's like a tiny space, but yeah, we had like
sweatbox.
Yeah, we had like 30 wrestlers in there.
Jeez.
Yeah, we had a great time. I have a good time like teaching seminars and doing stuff like that. I'm not ready to really be a full-time coach, That's a big responsibility, and especially if I'm trying to plan a singles run or do something else, like I don't think it would be fair to the students to not give them my full attention. So I would be interested somewhere down the road. That's part of the reason that, like you said, I didn't take that job at the PC, because that would be a difficult thing, because I still want to wrestle.
They wanted to Sarah Del Rey you.
Yeah, and I mean, and
but that's a huge compliment.
That's a huge compliment because basically Sarah's the spine of this change, this women's revolution. I mean, really in WWE, but I maybe I could have done that for the cruiserweight division, but I mean, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. There's time for that.
Have you ever thought, and like you said, there's still time for that, so I don't want to like get too far ahead of myself or ahead of you, but like, have you ever thought about like what your legacy is going to be? Because like you were talking about Shima a little while ago, and like Shima is one of those guys like Christopher Daniels, where like when you start getting into independent wrestling, they're everyone's favorite wrestler.
Right.
Like at one point, Christopher Daniels was everybody's favorite wrestler.
He was mine.
At one point, Shima was everybody's favorite wrestler if they saw Shima.
Yeah.
But like, I think you've been so good for so long, and Hobo and I talk about this a lot. Like, you've always been there, like just kicking ass. But it seems like you're only just now starting to get like the respect or the accolades that people are like, Rocky Romero, that's the dude.
Right. I try not to think about that kind of stuff too much. I like, because that, I don't know, it's like it just messes with your mind, I think, a little bit. Like what then like I have certain goals, like not just wrestling, are my goals. Like I have certain goals outside of wrestling that, I'm trying to accomplish. Like I wanted to do an album. I did a couple, and like I want to do, like, I'm working on this project with another guy, Mark Warzeka.
He's on the Raw After Show.
He's on the Raw After Show, and we're working on this like mockumentary that we put together. And so like I try to like find like, hey, I'm like 80% in wrestling, but I kind of want to be like Jericho in the end, like where like you can come in, have a great run for like a year or two, then take like 8 months off, and then go play a little bit, recharge, and then come back, because I've been doing this for so long, like and I want to stay fresh. Yeah. And the only way to stay fresh is to go live.
You have to refresh.
Yeah.
Are you gonna start doing like live shows?
Nah, probably not. I don't think so.
Well, you were talking about your music. Recently, we had a friend of yours, the Ashoka, on the show. And so you're a part of his project, the Ashoka Hustle.
Yes.
And there's also the music video that is just bizarre. But how is
I
it?
can't believe that it came out before Twin Peaks: The Return. Like it's a bit like it. In some ways, it telegraphed.
Right.
That's
Never
what.
thought of it that way.
Yeah.
What was it like collaborating with Ashoka?
Great. You know who actually introduced us was Brian Kendrick.
Really?
Yeah, he actually introduced us, and he said, "Oh, you know, I got a friend. His name is Ashoka. He's a rapper, and me and Brian actually on a couple of New Japan tours have gotten really drunk and made like some crazy rap music in my
I've
hotel
heard
room.
some of that.
Yeah,
Heard a little
yeah.
bit of
You
that.
gotta get those bootlegs.
Yeah. Maybe one day, maybe not right now. But
It's one of those.
there's
Hey,
some-
you like hip hop?
You just put a
of
sticker
those.
on it that says featuring Brian, and then you can join Toru Yano and
Yeah.
sell him the CD on the way to the ring.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe I should have Yano produce the whole thing, and then it would actually really sell. You know.
Nothing is ever not improved by adding Toru Yano.
Of course. That man is a serious genius. Like,
Yes.
I feel like he's like underrated in a way. Like he needs to be like everywhere all the time. But yeah, Yano's great. But I don't know what we were talking about. I forgot.
How you met Ashoka?
Yeah. So yeah, it was cool collaborating with him because you know we've been working on his album for it seems like forever, for like almost probably 2 years I think. So I produced a couple songs on there. I did some writing. I did a couple like verses. You know, the verses weren't my strong suit because I think I had recorded those before the stuff that I did personally. So like, and that was really where the growth came from me as a performer, because I never really was interested in becoming a rapper. Like I still don't say, oh, I'm a rapper or anything like that. I feel like I like to produce music. And I just, you know, I feel like I'm more like Puffy. Like I just like to put myself on there, you know.
Yeah.
What do you use to make like your beats and
FL Studio.
FL Studio?
Yeah.
Fruity Loops.
Fruitiest of Loops.
Fruity Loops, yeah.
And you've also been.
We all know.
Yeah.
What?
That's great.
You've also been a lot more influential in your own merch, as you are rocking presently.
Yes.
Shout out to our iTunes listeners. But where did the decision come, and what sort of stuff do you have like high concept for that you just can't, that you're still trying to figure out?
I mean, I'm new to the merch game, like on this level of like really trying to go after it, like more than
Did you ever market eye patches?
I am. No, we're doing.
Oh, you're doing it?
Yeah, we're doing eye patches now. Currently, we're actually just sold out, so we have
Nice.
to restock. So,
Next step is the replica fur coat. Like you can buy
Holy
Finn
crap.
Balor's
why
jacket.
are you reading my mind right now?
The shipping.
This is supposed to be surprises, you know. I want to be like Supreme and just drop stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
So-
man, that's where the money is, dude.
Right. So yeah, I mean, these are all ideas that we're already working on, and my girlfriend's just done an amazing job with the site and putting it together, and she's great at customer service, and like so far it's been really smooth, and I'm just like nothing but happy and grateful that all kinds of fans have really come out and supported the site, and it's been like it's blown my mind, and it's more than I could ever imagine. And so now I'm like really excited and like gun ho for it. Like, I want to, like, the Bucks have done such a good job with that, and they put out like really cool quality merchandise. So I want to take what they've done and just kind of improve it and throw my own spin on it.
That's what.
you know.
That's why I was reading your mind, because about a month ago on X-Pac's show, the Bucks were guests, and I asked them, was there ever a merch idea that was so out there that you guys didn't do it?
Right.
And they said pretty much no. but they said that the one thing they balked on was because they have that deal with that company that's doing replicas of their tights for women.
Oh yeah.
And the one with their faces all over it.
Right.
And they felt like a little uncomfortable before, but
like
the
too
demand's
obnoxious.
really high.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, that's what I asked them. I was like, was there anything too obnoxious for the Young Bucks to make merch out of?
Nothing is too obnoxious.
Yeah.
They're the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
you know? So I think, yeah. But I'm working on some jacket stuff, and like this thing just kind of keeps growing. Like the response for like even like these kind of t-shirts, the Black Soul t-shirts, like now it's like, oh, should we keep continuing with the, do a line of just like Black Soul, kind of Black Tiger, kind of stuff, and kind of keeping that separate. I mean, these are all like ideas, and like right now we're just playing and having a lot of fun, and so I hope that everybody will continue to support RockyRomeroMerch.com.
And
So
there's
check it out.
there's a Twitter account just for your merch too.
Yeah, there's a Twitter account. It's Rocky_merch, I believe. Yeah. So
Well, Rocky, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the NXT After Show. Aside from the merch, where can folks find you on social media? What's any other things that you're on coming up, or anything else you want to promote?
Twitter and IG, you can find me at AzukaRock, AZUCRROC. And probably keep an eye out for me at the G1 Finals. I'm going to be doing something. I don't know what, but I should be announcing it soon. Yeah.
Just going to ruin the
just
finals.
ruin the whole thing. Yeah, just take out Omega versus Okada or something. But like, continue to support New Japan Pro Wrestling. You can check it out.
World.
Yeah, njpwworld.com. You can sign up with that. It's like 999 yen a month.
That's exactly how much it is.
Yeah, and it's even cheaper than the network. Yeah. So
the other network.
yeah.
Never
The
heard
one
of
we
it.
never talk about on this show.
No.
We never talk about it ever. This has been fun. I think it's time to go. Bill, where can folks find you on Twitter?
You can find me everywhere at Sundown Motel. Join me on my jerky journey.
It's a spiritual thing.
Check out my writing at uprocks.com and with spandex.com. I just went on tour with FC Barcelona and wrote about it, and it was an amazing experience, and I hope you enjoy that post. It was crazy.
So cool.
Yeah, it was really crazy.
Wow.
Check out all my stuff over there, and you can find me in Brooklyn SummerSlam weekend, so if you see me, say hi.
Please do. Hobo.
And we'll be somewhere next week.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting there.
We're getting
We'll let
there.
him handle
Okay.
it.
Yeah, I'll do it.
At your hobo on the Twitter, and I'm around stuff doing things. Yep. Well, I was in Vegas last weekend, and I wrestled for FSW. Wasn't advertised, so I'm literally anywhere
never
at
know.
any time.
Yeah.
You never know when he might pop up.
He's out of nowhere.
He might pop
Boxcar
up
Superstar.
at NXT LA next week. He won't. But we're all going to be going to NXT LA next week, so that means we're not going to be doing a show in order to cover more of NXT. So make sure you follow us all on Twitter. We're probably just going to do a double. We're just going to cover 2 episodes the 16th. So make sure to follow all of us if you want updates from NXT LA. We're also going to be having Drew McIntyre in studio doing X-Pac 12360 next week, and we're also going to be getting a couple of interviews for that show at Backstage for NXT. And then make sure to watch all of our other wrestling programming. We've got Ringside Pop, which Rocky was just on this past week, as well as our Monday Night Raw show with Hobo just joining. I like hitting him. And Tuesday Night SmackDown. Thursday night we do Lucha Underground. We love doing wrestling shows for you, so make sure to support all of them. Find us on iTunes, comment, subscribe, and find me on Twitter, Mark Donica. Our store is nxtnotesbutcher.com. That's it. We're done. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.